Good morning. Good morning. Greetings, Queen. Glad to have you here. And greetings, everybody's popping in, watching this video, recording, joining us from the future. We are here for another pre-market prep session presented by Kaizen. This event is kicking off in less than a week. By next Wednesday, we will be diving into everything AI, the next wave of AI stocks, going over the large language models, how you should be using them, going over these new custom bots, how you can use those. There is not something that anyone listening to this right now will not have like life-changing information conveyed to them. Like there's a 0% chance. You're not aware of these tools, you have no idea of what they can do for you, and once you do, they will absolutely change your workflows, the way that you do work. It might change your line of work, it might change your position at work, it might change your occupation. All of that stuff is up in the air based off the knowledge that is going to be conveyed. And I'm very, very excited for it. Day one, day two, day three are going to knock your socks off, and I can't wait. So if you're not registered, make sure you go to I'mBetterDaily.com in order to get registered for that. Again, you don't know what you don't know, so it's tough for me to even convey what will be conveyed without you going through day one, day two, and day three. It's like if people, I don't know, didn't know about like a vehicle and all the different things that it could do for you. It's like you try to explain a vehicle, oh, or this thing can take you from point A to point B. But if you use it this way, you can actually make money in this way. And then if you use it in this way, you can actually get a job doing this. And then if you use it in this way, all right, there's so many different ways. If you use it in this way, you could use it as like a war machine. If you use it in this way, you can use it for competitive racing. It's like until you have an idea of what it is, the tools that we're discussing, you can't really fathom how they can be applied into different spaces. It just sounds like mumbo jumbo. So that's what this event is for, is to break down all the mumbo jumbo, right? And if you're on the fence and you're like, I don't know if this is for me, I don't know absolutely anything about AI, that's completely fine. That's the whole point, right? Just like in Stock Options Made Easy, where the first slide is what is the stock, right? We start at square one and then we build from there. But this will be an event where you go back over this information, watch it 3, 4 times, and still get new pieces of information, new nuggets, new modes of application. And that's what I try and deliver each and every time that we get together for a live event. If you've been there for a live event for me, you already know the drill, right? We don't have to go through it. An overabundance of value and breakthroughs are sure to follow. So I'm excited for that. And I'm excited to dive into what we got going on today on this fine June 13th, 2024 day, this fine Friday Eve. We had AVGO report earnings after hours yesterday and also announce a split. So AVGO, just another one of that trifecta as a part of the analysis I delivered earlier this week that has paid dividends on dividends on dividends. Oracle, AVGO, Apple, all three of them lined up on Monday and said in this Loom video, hey, all three of these are poised to explode. Two of them have earnings. I'm still fine with getting these long calls before earnings and holding through earnings because of the setups that they have. All three have spent a year or more building up these setups. So all three poised to supremely explode, right? Supremely explode, in that the beginning of this, explosion is just happening. So, yeah, that's been fun, right? That's been fun. And we've got yet another play to add to the win list of this week, especially when it comes to the long swings. Eli Lilly coming through in the clutch. They just got a new approval for another new drug. It's just these longs are, you want to work your account up. If you're starting from a small account, work your account up and then just work these longs and just have that be your portfolio. And if you're somebody who's an avid investor, you can also invest in longer term option plays, plays that expire in a year, 2 years, and it gives you a lot more return than it would just owning the shares of the stock, which is a great setup as well. But we're starting this morning again with big green and something that I don't take for granted and that I can't be mad at all. So far, each morning we've had something gap up, something pay huge, something double, triple, quadruple, and we're continuing that trend here. with AVGO after Oracle did it, opened up and is paying us. SPY did it, Apple did it, and then we've got our more faithful chuggers like Eli Lilly just making their way up bit by bit, and then getting this news that happens. But again, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. I'm not lucky. I never consider myself a lucky person. I consider myself a prepared person. We've talked about this before. These companies announce this information when their stock is in an advantageous spot, right? So from AVGO, and I'm looking at our charts and I say, wow, we've got this huge pattern. All we need is some catalyst and our stock can absolutely explode. Tesla does it all the time, right? All these companies do it all the time because they look and they see if we just throw a little accelerant on this fire, we're great. But you have to be able to identify the fact that there is a fire there and there is something brewing, and that puts you in the position of it, right? Because I'm not lucky. I don't believe in luck. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity, and we prepared, right, by making sure we could read the charts, identify the fact that bulls had been accumulating shares over the course of such a long period of time, and that stock was ready to explode, right? And that's how we got lucky. It's not because like, oh man, I'm so glad they announced the split. No, they got people that can read charts and I can read charts. Therefore, I make myself lucky. That's what you have to be. Same thing with AI, all the stuff that we're going over. Man, you're so lucky you hopped on that AI thing early. No, I prepared. There ain't no luck about it, bro. The hours have gone into this, right? Oh, you're so lucky that you're in talks to work with a $500 million company. No, bro, I prepared for this. Same thing with every other AI client, every other AI talk, every consulting client that we've booked off the back of AI integration and implementation. All of that is not luck, right? That is preparation meeting opportunity. If you're not prepared when you run into certain people, then you won't leave a lasting impression, right? I make sure that I am prepared so that every person I meet, I leave a lasting impression on you, right? You know what's going on in the stock market. Oh, you know what's going on with these AI tools. Oh, and it's like, wow, it's because I'm prepared for that. And you guys are prepared for a lot of it too, right? Just by being here during these sessions, because you know what the heck's going on in the world. Just like our top news here as we dive into what's happening with Tesla. So let's get into it. And a big win for Elon Musk. Tesla shareholders look set to approve his disputed $56 billion CEO pay package, as well as the electric vehicle makers' reincorporation to Texas from Delaware. The massive 2018 compensation plan had been an overhang on Tesla shares for months after it was voided by a Delaware judge in January who called it an unfathomable sum. Vote tally. While the official results of the vote will be announced at Tesla's annual shareholder meeting later today, Musk jumped the gun and revealed that shareholders are overwhelmingly backing him. Basically, flipped the double bird to all of his critics. It was like, all my people that matter still back me. Screw off, essentially. Quote, both Tesla shareholder resolutions are currently passing by wide margins, the billionaire wrote on social media platform X, sending Tesla shares soaring 5.4% before the bell. Even with the shareholder backing, Musk still faces the risk of fresh lawsuits as well as the challenge of appealing Delaware Judge Kathleen McCormick's ruling. Yeah, Tesla had some nice call volume yesterday. I was looking at it, but you guys know my motto on Tesla right now. Tesla's got to earn it for me. Like you got to earn it. You got to show me without the shadow of a doubt that you're back, that you mean business, and that's where I'm at with Tesla, and it has served me well. So I'm going to stick by it because Tesla has shown these solid looks and this, that, and the third. But you got to do it. You really got to do it and show me something. And today might be the day, right? Tesla might finally break that downtrend that we needed to break. The buyers take back control and it, make up for the absolute poopy 2024 that's had thus far in the first half of the year. But again, only half of the year has gone by. So just like anybody else listening to this live stream, right, there is the majority of the year still a little bit by a small margin, the majority of the year ahead of you. So you can turn it around, right? You do not have to have a bad 2024. If you find yourself, feeling like, I'm constantly down, I'm constantly feeling deprived. I'm constantly just, in my own head. I'm anxious. I'm nervous. I'm just being tortured by spirits of anxiety and depression, right? I'm not where I want to be professionally. I'm not where I want to be personally. There's still time to change that, right? And there's still things you can do to change that. Just make sure you're putting yourself in different rooms and in different avenues to learn how to remedy that because there is a solution for every problem. Everything that happens over the course of the day shouldn't tick you off. People being positive around you shouldn't tick you off, right? People winning around you shouldn't tick you off. If any of those things resonate with you in an intensely negative way, that's because there's a deep seated self loathing that needs to be addressed. And that can only be addressed by looking internally and adopting new practices that creates that new you from the inside out, right? And not even creates the new you, just takes the calloused heart off of the old you, right? Those callous structures. You are naturally, a bright, vibrant person, right? Even if it's just in your own way, you might not be outgoing. But if you find yourself where you're constantly run down, you're constantly downtrodden, you're constantly thinking negative about things, and happy things piss you off, that's because you're just not in the right state right now, right? So search for ways to get into that state. It might involve movement, might involve prayer, might involve yoga, might involve right stretching. The ability of your body to be limber, even though I'm like the least limber person ever, is huge, and the ability of your mind to be limber. Right, start exploring different things in order to change your status quo and get where you need to be in the last 6 months of the year. And that doesn't have anything to do with stocks, but definitely has something to do with trading, because your mindset coming into markets 1000% impacts how you behave, right? When it comes to entering trades, trade management, your fear, your execution, all of that comes to a head when trading. So if you think you can cut those corners, you'll find out either short term or long term from just getting run down, run down, run down, run down. Where it's like, all right, I've got to make some type of change. Let me start making that change in order to be the person that I want to be. Back to Musk here. Street Talk, Piper Sandler thinks it's clear that Tesla's stock would fall if the compensation award was rejected. The other key issue is whether Musk walks away from the shareholder meeting with his goal of landing 25% of voting control over time. Morgan Stanley said shareholders should be prepared for a significant slowdown in Tesla's AI efforts if he does not get his way. That's true. That's very true. And they they've got to get back on track with that. Like that is, at this point they have to appease him, because AI is where the world is going, and in order to make sure that their AI efforts, because they're a sneaky AI like dark horse. In order for those efforts to not be hampered, they need him fully appeased. So pay him whatever money he needs, and get him back on, because you best believe he's got a plan, right? He's got a plan when it comes to AI. He definitely is regretting not staying on at OpenAI. He had that opportunity and he didn't stay with OpenAI, and now OpenAI, is partnered with the two most valuable companies in the world, in Microsoft and Apple. So he's definitely kicking himself over that. But if anything, that even lights more of a fire that wants me to have somebody like that on my side, despite how crazy it is. I don't, people say, "Oh, crazy people." You can manage crazy people, right? You can manage crazy people. Just make sure you're delivering, right? And you can go be crazy on your own time. In terms of Seeking Alpha commentary, quote, Tesla has long been a volatile stock, especially around key milestones like earnings, production updates, and flashy shareholder votes, Seeking Alpha analyst Gary Alexander said recently. He remains bullish on the stock given a number of positive catalysts like its accelerated next-gen vehicle roadmap. But Seeking Alpha analyst Johnny Zhang warned that Tesla is trading at a premium valuation, in part influenced by Musk's outstanding track record, as investors believe in his ability to navigate the company through its growth turnaround story. If I have to hear one more time, in addition to the past 10 years of Tesla trading at a premium valuation, that's just how it is. Every stock in the stock market trades at a premium valuation because it's pricing in the innate ability of that stock as opposed to maybe the value it's providing at that time, right? Nvidia, same way. Apple, same way. All these companies, yes, they provide a lot of value, but it's nowhere near their stock price. Like nowhere near, right? But it's just the fact in which they will continue to be cornerstones of innovation and value, and that's what you buy. That's what you buy into. So Tesla has always and will always trade at a premium valuation, because that's just how it is. So for you to say that is like inconsequential at this point. It's like, when who is it? Like when Steph Curry is hitting like 8 threes a game. Yeah, he's shooting at an insane, unsustainable mark, but that's his mark. Same thing with like a Patrick Mahomes or something like that. Like people that just perform like that, people that have that innate ability, everything that they do is going, oh, well, it's time to regress to the mean. They have a different mean, right? They have a different mean. There's a different scale. In terms of inflation news, outlier or trend, the consumer price index was unexpectedly flat in May compared to the 0.1% rise expected, installing from the 0.3% increase in April, the Department of Labor said. That was to our benefit, of course, as I was bullish going into CPI data yesterday. Swung SPY calls, SPY gapped up. Everyone's calls, whether you had them from 2 Fridays ago or the day before or whatever, right? We're either at 100%, darn near it, or well over it. So that was another contribution to what's been a great week here this week. Core CPI, which strips out food and energy prices, also eased somewhat last month, rising 0.2% compared with 0.3% expected and 0.3% in April. Quote, both of these inflation measures indicate that inflation is moderating sharply, which is great news for soft landing believers, said Seeking Alpha analyst Amir Tokic, but warned that the report was possibly an outlier caused by falling energy prices and transportation costs. Still, the data was enough for NASDAQ and the S&P 500 to close at new record highs, which we continue to set. I said in big all caps, buy the dip. And I said there on Instagram, engage the boosters. And that's exactly what we've done. Rocketed to new record highs. And that's exactly what we will freaking continue to do is rocket to new all-time highs. Economic news, and that's exactly why if you're not in markets, you need to get in markets. If you're not trading with us, you need to trade with us. It's as simple as that. We're going to continue winning, continue delivering good analysis. You won't win nonstop. There's going to be losses. That's the only thing guaranteed in life. You're going to win and you learn, but over time, you will get better. You will make money. You will execute. You will close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. It's as simple as that, right? But you got to be a willing participant in your own rescue always. There's not anybody, right? No Superman, no Omni-Man, no Homelander that's going to pop in and save you spontaneously. It's got to be you that's the savior of yourself. In terms of economic news, love me some ginger tea. Contrary to what you guys might think, my stomach isn't messed up this morning. Rare occurrence, but sometimes that nice, spicy, natural anti-inflammatories is what you need in the morning. Economic news dialing back. While the CPI report brought some relief to markets, gains were limited as the Federal Reserve scaled back its expectations for interest rate cuts this year after maintaining its key rate for the seventh time. The Fed now expects just one 25 basis point cut this year, down from the 3 reductions it penciled back in March. Policymakers emphasized that they require several consecutive months of waning price pressures before contemplating rate cuts, particularly in light of the latest jobs report. So far this year, the Fed has not received the greater confidence it needs that inflation is sustainably heading toward its 2% goal, Jay Powell noted in his press conference. Yeah, so yesterday we had a big double whammy. CPI data, which came in positive, that paid us enough for the month of June, right? You really don't loading up the boat on SPY back 2 weeks ago, right? Executing that game plan. At this point, you are completely fine and cashed out, right? You have no need, you have no hunger. You're not struggling to put food on the table and worrying about the Fed day. But the Fed day still does provide a nice opportunity if we can get some movement. However, there are rare Fed days where we get literally no movement, and that was yesterday. We got pretty much no movement. And they can happen. And that's why you don't see me going out doing straddles and strangles and all this stuff on Fed days, because at the end of the day, you need to react to the price action. If the price action doesn't do anything, you're not reacting to it. And that was yesterday. And it was funny. It was kind of like, around this whole sector. It was just like, oh, is this one going to be like, literally everyone is like, is this going to be one of those days where there's no real action, where there's nothing happening? And that was exactly the case. So that's what we got. I can't be mad at it. I don't control markets, but it was just identifying that is key, because a lot of people sat there yesterday and were like, oh, we got that great CPI. Powell's going to come in and he's going to pump, right? All these people that just, you might float around Instagram, but you don't really have any idea of technicals and you're not really understanding and breaking down information, or you haven't traded enough Fed days. So they just went, balls to the wall with calls, and those calls did not do well, right? Or somebody might have saw that initial dip and then they just went crazy with the puts, and those puts we just ended up kind of chopping around. So there was a smaller leg of selling that if you leverage that when we tested that intraday high of day, it paid on like the scalp, but other than that, not really much happened. So being ready and being calm are super important on Fed days. And yesterday demonstrated exactly why. If you come in and you're all jacked up and you're ready to do something and you're ready to force something that's not there, you'll screw yourself. right? So you never want to come in over the top, teeming with anxiety or teeming with the need to do something. Recognize that days provide opportunity, right? But you don't need to turn that into like oozing anxiety or overwhelm, right? Don't let it team into overwhelm. Recognize that each and every day opportunities are there, and each and every day you can take advantage of them. But if you build up in your head, this is gonna be that crazy. It's like anything else, right? Like any presentation you have, da da da. At the end of the day, it's a presentation, right? You have a sales meeting. It's a sales meeting. It's one meeting amongst hundreds of thousands of meetings that you will have, right? One opportunity amongst hundreds of thousands of opportunities that you will have. This is a drop in the bucket in what is, you pouring your life out over the course of your lifespan. So it's like, understand that there's opportunity there, but it's not the be all end all. That balance, that like homeostasis of you understanding that you want to be prepared for opportunities, but you're not ruled by those opportunities is huge, right? If you lean in one direction, you're lazy. If you're like, oh, I'm not ruled by opportunity, I'm not stressing about it, well, you never take advantage of what's there. On the other end, if you're like, oh, this is the last opportunity that's there for me. If I don't hit it, I can't do this, right? If I don't hit this, I can't trade. If I don't do this, there's no way I could be a qualified salesperson. There's no way I should be an executive at this company. No, man, find that happy medium, right? There's opportunities to take advantage of. It's not the last one in the world. When you live in the middle point between those two things, that's where the magic happens because you maintain the composure necessary to make the correct deductions, right? Adhere to your system, manage risk, and have fun along with doing it, right? Because that's the biggest thing. Have fun. In terms of what's next? No payment. So Apple is reportedly not paying OpenAI for integrating its chatbot ChatGPT into its devices, and the partnership isn't expected to generate meaningful revenue for either company initially. That is not what you want to hear. You're like jazzed up about this partnership from either side. Apple instead believes that offering OpenAI's technology to hundreds of millions of iPhone users is equal or greater value than monetary payments. It is, according to sources. If you have as many people that own iPhones that are being used to train OpenAI by using it, that is the equivalent of billions of dollars. Because that's what data is. Data is understanding. Every time you use an OpenAI product, you're training it further. What type of questions do these humans ask, right? What type of queries do they have? What are they thinking about? How do they process information? Every single time you ask it a question, it gets better and it gets trained up, right? So for them to, it's just like, Google, right? Google went, and the reason why Google has the leading search engine is because Google did whatever it needed to do to make sure that Google was on each and every piece of hardware that came out, right? This comes with Google on it. This machine comes with Google on it, right? All this comes with Google on it. And therefore, the more people using Google, the better Google gets. So that's that same thing where it's like, normally Apple would have to pay for the ability to have something as powerful as OpenAI and ChatGPT on its phone. And normally OpenAI would have to pay tons of money in order to get on Apple's hardware, which is like, the most popular phone in the world. It might not be the most used, right? I'm sure that's still Droids, but overall Apple's the standard. So it makes sense that this is like a non-monetary thing from both sides. It's like if two pop stars get together, it's like, all right, I got my own bag, you got your own bag, I've got my own lane, you've got your own lane. Us getting together is not going to be like one needs to leech off the other. We're on equal footing here. Even though that is crazy saying that OpenAI is on equal footing with Apple and Apple is Apple, but you got to recognize game. You got to recognize game. It's just that, right? It's just that. Um, let's see here. The tech giant announced the OpenAI deal at its annual developers conference on Monday, along with its own AI system, Apple Intelligence. While Apple did not disclose the financial details of the partnership, the current structure of no monetary payments could become costly for OpenAI. We shall see. We shall see. It depends on, how quickly their models develop. That's the whole point is the AI saves you time, saves you money, decreases friction, and increases revenue. If they don't have nearly as many people working at AI, they just have AI agents that are working together to accomplish things, which is something that you're going to learn about in the challenge, right? You can have whole teams of just AIs that work together to get something done. So I doubt OpenAI has anywhere near the amount of employees that other companies have. They just wouldn't. Why? When I can have AI. I can have my own AIs working with me on AI. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. So like I feel like they could get by with less money than what people think. Like it's gonna take, it's gonna take some focus in other areas, but I think at least when it comes to personnel, I don't think they'll need as much of it. In terms of today's markets, mixed bag. Japan down 0.4%, checking over in Asia. Hong Kong up 1%, China down 0.3, India up 0.3. In Europe, the footy in London down 0.4%, Paris down 1.2, Frankfurt down 1.1, the Dow down 0.3%, S&P up 0.1, Nasdaq up 0.7, crude down 0.7%, gold up down 1.1, Bitcoin flat. Jobless claims at 8:30, PPI data at 8:30 as well. What else is happening? Our rapid fire stock news rundown will close us out here. Meta plans to make company leaner, cut down on VP positions. Everyone is doing it. Everyone is doing it. Middle management, because of what these AI tools are doing, and especially what we're talking about on day 3, these specific custom bots, they are cutting down on the number of people you need to have in a company, right? They're cutting down on the friction. We don't need 10 different people in a line in order to get something done anymore. You probably need 3. And that's a lot of these like middle management, VP positions, all of that stuff that help to maintain organization, decrease friction, make sure that there's clean communication, that will be automated. And you knowing how to automate that stuff and going to a company and saying, hey, I can automate it. What does your work entail? Let me show you, let me automate some of your stuff for free. And then you bring me to the rest of your company, right? And say, hey, I've been doing this on the lowdown for like 6 months to a year, and it has given me more time, helped me be more effective, helped me be more efficient. I've been able to communicate with you guys a lot easier and do my job. And this is how I've been doing it. Then the rest of the company says, okay, cool, let's do that. We need to do that too. And now you're the one that's doing the AI integration and implementation for that company. So set yourself up with high value skills that allows you to, with not much experience other than just the deliverables, just come with the deliverables. Does it work? People don't care. It's why like a lot of these like big companies out, they don't care if you went to Harvard, right? Apple doesn't care. A lot of them are removing the need for you to have a college degree. Why? We care about results. Can you make me something that works? Okay, cool. Word. I don't care where you went to school. I don't care if you're making it from your mom's basement or from the ISS up there, in space. It's like just produce. So learn how to produce, learn high value skills, learn where the world is turning, right? There's always a direction the world is turning. Learn that direction. Align yourself in that direction and you will be good no matter what. And that's the aim of what we do here each and every morning, but also what's going to happen at that Kaizen event next week. So if you're not going to be there, you should probably change that and head to I'mBetterDaily.com because that's where we're about to get into it. And it's going to be something that will absolutely change lives. I say that with confidence to the point where I have no doubt about it. And I'm so glad that, that I took the time to get this information from you guys to really learn where you are, what jobs you do, and pick and choose, which tools that I go deeply into in order to help you immediately. That's my big thing. Immediate value and also positioning you in the future to continue to draw value from that same well. That's what it'll be. That's what it does. That's what it do. GLP-1 obesity drug coverage dropped by Michigan's largest insurer. It's not fun for people trying to get Ozempic through their insurance in Michigan. Broadcom ticker AVGO soars as results in 10-for-1 stock split buoy hopes. AVGO, another win for the stock options made easy community. Snipe on deck. AVGO, Oracle, Apple. Those are 3 ones. Went over on Monday. Each one is up significantly since then. Trade war brewing. China slams EU's provisional EV import tariffs. Ruling banning Amazon from firing pro-union workers vacated. Pfizer's, I think it's Duchenne muscular dystrophy gene therapy fails in phase 3. That ain't good. City Oil's last hurrah is coming. So Citibank does not liking oil. We'll see. They see it drop to $60 per barrel a year from now. I don't see that same thing at all. I don't think Warren Buffett sees that same thing. So it's giving me the feeling the Citibank might be wrong, but we shall see. Whirlpool, ticker WHR, shares gain amid some vague takeover speculation. Frontline CEO, ships won't return to Red Sea soon, even with ceasefire. So you see that these ships not returning to the Red Sea and having to take even longer voyages in order to reach their destinations. And you're talking about oil is going to reach $60 per barrel a year from now. We've got all these geopolitical risks that aren't turning down at all. It don't make sense, Citibank. Let me know if you see something that I don't see. Terra Luna crash. Haven't talked about that in a while. Terraform Labs to pay $4.47 billion to settle SEC fraud case. And we'll wrap it up there for this fine Thursday, Friday Eve, 6/13/2024. Let's lock in and have a great day, everybody. Right? Continue to get 1% better. You're born looking like your parents, but you die looking like your decisions. So make sure that you make the decisions so that when you're looking there and you're taking your last breaths, right? You're looking at yourself in the mirror, you like what you see based off the decision that you made. Those same decisions are the ones you're making right now, right? So don't make the ones that allow you to feel comfortable because nothing worth doing was ever done from the comfort zone. Make yourself uncomfortable. Make yourself prove to yourself why you should be happy. You're not happy because you sit through and you do the same thing and you survive. You're happy because you learn and you grow and you thrive and you win, right? Typically, happiness involves overcoming some type of obstacle in order to get there, right? So do it. Do it. Hit the obstacles head on. It's a lot easier to do it with others. So let's smash through these obstacles together and continue to triumph. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow morning. We got our last session of the week. Have a good one.